Welcome in everyone. This week we had a busy week in the soccer world. We had Champions League, Europa League, the Conference League, and after this weekend it's going to be another international break. So let's cover the top Euro leagues this weekend before they go on another break. We'll go through the top leagues and make some picks from the Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga, and Serie A to make our top soccer predictions this weekend. This weekend I have 4 parlays covering 3 games each. If you want more soccer picks, be sure to follow along with the channel, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Let me know what you like in the comments in these games or other games. And if you want even more picks, then be sure to become a channel member for members-only picks, monthly write-ups, weekly write-ups down there in the community section of the channel. Let's get into it. Parlay number 1, soccer picks and parlays. 3 Saturday EPL games, starting with Brentford and Wolves. Brentford haven't won in 3 games in the EPL, but oddly and weirdly, they scored inside the opening minute in their last few games. But count all competitions this season, and they've scored in 6 straight and 7 of 8. But then they have conceded in 7 of 8 as well. Wolves are rooted at the bottom of the table right now. They're still winless. They're 0-1-5, outscored 16-6, and they're giving up the most goals overall in the league. Last season, Brentford won 2-0, and they drew 1-1 in the EPL, and Wolves won 3-2 in extra time in the FA Cup. Brentford's 8 goals have been scored by just 2 players, 3 from Wissa, 5 from Muembo. Wissa could miss out here injured, likely, so but we still have the 5-goal man Mbuma in the lineup. Should be enough for Brentford to get on the score sheet. You think Brentford could win this? Maybe a both teams to score. I'm just going to ask Brentford to score. So Brentford over 0.5 goals. Next up, Leicester and Bournemouth. There are only 2 combined wins between these teams so far. And both of those wins have gone for the Cherries, who are 2-2, while Leicester is still winless at 0-3-3. Leicester have scored, though, in all 6 EPL games. They have conceded as well, though, so both teams to score bets have gone a perfect 6-0, and the both teams to score over 2.5. It's 4-2. Their 2 cup games were 4-0 win and a PK win after a 0-0 draw. They did meet these teams in the FA Cup back in February, and Leicester won 1-0 in extra time, so that was a lower scoring game. Now, despite having the 2nd fewest shots on target, Leicester do just keep scoring. Bournemouth have put up the 5th most shots on target this season themselves. But then both allow a ton of shots against, Leicester allowing the most so far, and Bournemouth the 2nd most. The Cherries' XGA is respectable, about mid-pack, but Leicester is dead last at 12.3. Leicester got 2 versus Arsenal last weekend, a team that's usually one of the best defensive ones in the league, so they should be able to score here, but they've not proved capable of keeping clean sheets at all. Bournemouth's club record signing of Evan Nilsson opened his account this week in a win, so he should be possibly ready to get rolling as well. The Cherries have been shut out in 2 of 3, but they've also scored 3 goals twice in 4 games, and against other lower-level teams like Everton and Southampton. Leicester fits that bill as well. Let's go both teams to score. 3rd leg, Man City and Fulham. Fulham was off to a good start, 3-2-1. They're 6th. They've only allowed 5 goals. That could end versus Man City, who are 2nd right now, yet to lose 4-2-0. And it's an opponent that has dominated Fulham over the years. Last year, City won 4-0 and 5-1, and City have won each of the past 16 meetings between these teams going back to 2012. They've also scored 2 or more goals versus Fulham in 17 straight, which is just a wild trend that's been going on for years. City come in off a 4-0 rout of Slovan Bratislava in Tuesday's Champions League game. This may not be another 4-0 win this weekend after a short week, but it should still be a win. They've not lost in 29 games across all competitions. Man City to win to conclude the parlay. Paired with Leicester and Bournemouth, both teams to score, and Brentford simply to score at least 1 will come in at plus 132 odds. Let's move along to parlay number 2, still on Saturday, spread out over the EPL, La Liga, and the Bundesliga. We'll start with Arsenal versus Southampton. Arsenal come in, they're huge favorites here. They're still against the still winless 19th place Southampton, who are 0-1-5 and have been outscored at 12-3. The Gunners are about minus 800 moneyline favorites, so maybe you could throw that into a parlay, but if you want a little bit better odds, you can cut that price in about half for minus 450 for Arsenal to simply score over 1.5 goals. Obviously, if you're looking to make a straight bet on this game, you need to be a little bit more creative and ask Arsenal to win by 3 or 4, or by clean sheet, or maybe to be leading at halftime and full time. But that's not what we're doing in these parlays. Arsenal have scored 2 more goals in 19 of 24 of their past EPL games. And they did it again in the Champions League this week, beating PSG 2-0. That's good enough for me. Leg number 1, Arsenal over 1.5 goals. We'll do a similar approach here in Germany with Leverkusen and Holstein Kiel. It's been a tough start in the Bundesliga for Holstein Kiel at 0-1-4. They've been outscored 17-7, giving up the most goals and sitting last in 18th. Leverkusen are 3-1-1. They're scoring plenty with 14 goals for, but giving up 10 goals allowed. Last week they drew Bayern Munich 1-1. They are fourth right now in the table. They come in off a 1-0 win over AC Milan in the Champions League, and they should again roll against Kiel, get another win. Xabi's team just rarely loses right now. They had a run of 35 games undefeated, and they still have one loss in 38. You'll have to get super creative if you're just looking for a straight bet. Maybe Leverkusen to win by 3 or 4, much like the Arsenal game. They are minus 1,200 on the money line, but we'll just ask Leverkusen to score over 1.5 goals. You could make these odds a bit better if you ask them to score over 2.5, but I'll settle for Leverkusen over 1.5 with Arsenal over 1.5. And then this parlay will get its value from this next leg, and it's in La Liga, Las Palmas and Celta Vigo. After a hot start to the season, Celta has cooled off and they've now sunk to 10th. Las Palmas are still the only winless team at 0-3-5, and they've been outscored 16-9, and they are 20th. Both teams' games have seen tons of goals though. Celta's 3.8, that's the third most. Las Palmas 3.1, the fourth most. Celta 7-1 to over 1.5 totals. Las Palmas perfect 8-0. Celta has scored in 7 of 8, but they've conceded in 8 of 8, and the both teams to score is 7-1. Las Palmas have scored in 7 of 8, but they've also conceded in 8 of 8, and the both teams to score for them also 7-1. Las Palmas also has 0 wins in their past 22 across all matches, so betting them to win is very, very rarely, if not ever, a good bet. In those 22 games, they've also kept just 1 clean sheet, so they basically always get scored on as well. This season, they proved capable of at least scoring, though, when they're at home. They've now scored in 6 straight home games going back to last season. Last year, both teams won at home. Las Palmas 2-1, Celta 4-1. Prior to that, they had not met since 2018. But historically, this match has been an exciting matchup. The both teams scoring over 2.5 has hit in each of the past 12 matchups, going all the way back to 2011. So no matter the season, these two somehow just seem to create goals. Let's go. Both teams to score between Celta Vigo and Las Palmas, paired with the 2 goals for Leverkusen and the 2 for Arsenal, and again, coming in at plus 132. Let's move in to Sunday for the soccer picks and parlays, number 3, and we'll have EPL and La Liga action, starting with Aston Villa and Manchester United. Villa is having the better season, but Man U has gotten the better of this matchup, winning 4 straight, including 2-1 and 3-2 last season. There's been 3 or more goals in 5 of 6 between them, and Villa has not won in any of the last 7 meetings, not since 2021. Villa did upset Bayern in the Champions League 1-0 on Wednesday. That would be an unexpected result for them. Man U played in Porto in the Europa League on Thursday, and they went up 2-0, then went down 3-2, and eventually had to fight back to draw 3-3 with a Harry Maguire header from a corner deep into stoppage time. Villa's in great form, spirits are high, and in all competitions they are 7-1-1, scoring in 8 of 9, and scoring multiple in 7 of 9 in EPL home games. Unai Emery's men have scored in 34 of 36. I'm going to ask Villa just to simply score in this game. I trust them much more than I do Man U. Next up, Brighton and Tottenham. Brighton are 9th, and they have only lost once, but they haven't won in 4 games. They have 3 draws in that time in the EPL. They have both scored and conceded 2 goals in 3 straight when you count the Carabao Cup, and we have a 4-2 loss, a 2-2 draw, and a 3-2 win. So there's been goals flying at both ends in most of their games. Tottenham have 1 more point than Brighton, just above them in the standings. They're 8th versus 9th. They're 12 goals for, ranks 3rd. But Tottenham surprisingly been tight defensively. They're 5 goals allowed, ranks 2nd as well. Spurs played Ferencváros Thursday in the Conference League in Hungary and won 2-1, but that game was close until late. It was just 1-0. Spurs got a second 2-0 late in that game, and then Ferencváros got on the board even later in that game. They've now won 5 straight, and they've scored multiple goals in all of those 5. Both teams won at home last year, Brighton 4-2, Spurs 2-1. And in Tottenham's last 35 EPL games, there's been 3 or more goals in 29 of them. This certainly looks like the makings of a good both teams to score, or both teams to score at over 2.5. Tottenham's defense, though, has been surprisingly tight. Gives me maybe a little pause there. I'm just going to ask for over 1.5 goals in this game for leg 2 of the parlay. And finally, we'll go leg 3, Alaves and Barcelona. In La Liga, Barca won 3-1 and 2-1 last season. They're 12-2-0, undefeated in the last 14 against Alaves, with Alaves last winning back in 2016. That's their only win in the last 24 meetings against Barca. Alaves have lost 2 straight, 3 of 4. They've given up 2 or more goals in each of those 3 losses. Barca routed Young Boys of Switzerland in the Champions League on Tuesday. In all competitions, they're 8-0-2, and they've scored multiple goals in 8 of 10 and at least 1 in all 10. Barca should win. Barca should score a couple. Let's go Barcelona over 1.5 goals. paired with just over 1.5 in the Brighton Tottenham, and Villa simply to score, and that would give us plus 109 odds. If you wanted to get a little better price, you could change that over 1.5 to a both teams to score with Brighton and Tottenham. That would bring you all the way up to plus 155. One more parlay, 3 more games on Sunday. It's Bundesliga and Serie A. We'll go to Eintracht, Frankfurt, and Bayern Munich. It's 1-1-1 between them in the past 3, an equal split. It's a 2-1 Bayern win and a 5-1 Frankfurt win last season, and also a 1-1 draw prior to that. Frankfurt have actually won 3 of 7 between these teams, so it's actually a dead even 3-1-3 in the past 7 meetings between them. Only once in 7 and 2 in 12 meetings have Frankfurt actually not failed to at least score against Bayern. Bayern played in the Champions League on Wednesday and shockingly lost 1-0 away to Aston Villa. Meanwhile, Frankfurt played in the Europa League and they won 3-1 away to Besiktas in Turkey. This week notwithstanding, Bayern is always expected to score. They've been putting up touchdown wins over some teams already this season. So the question is if Frankfurt can score 2 and if there'll be 3 or more goals. And there probably will be. Frankfurt are second in the table. They've won 4 straight. And in fact, they've scored multiple goals now in several games at home. And they've also scored in 32 games as well. We'll go both teams to score between Frankfurt and Bayern. Next, Stuttgart and Hoffenheim. Last year, both won on the road. Hoffenheim 3-2, Stuttgart 3-0. Other score lines between these teams: 1-1, 2-2, 2-1, 3-1, 2-0, 3-3, 1-1, and 4-0, going back now over many seasons. Still, no matter the year, there just seems to be goals. There's been 2 or more goals in 17 of 18, 3 or more goals in 12 of 18. This year, both have been involved in goal-laden games. 4 teams have seen 4.8 goals per game in their matches this season, and these are 2 of those 4 teams. Both have seen 2 or more goals in all 5, 3 or more goals in all 5, and Stuttgart have seen 4 or more goals in all 5, while Hoffenheim too have seen 3 or more goals in 4 of 5. From wins and losses, you'd have to bet Stuttgart in this game, who are 2-2-1 compared to Hoffenheim's 1-0-4, putting them currently in the relegation playoff spot. Stuttgart comes in off a 1-1 draw with Sparta Prague in the Champions League, and they drew 2-2 last weekend. In all competitions, Stuttgart have scored in 9 of 9, conceded in 8 of 9, and in all competitions, though, they've scored 2 or more in 7 of 10. In the Europa League, Hoffenheim just played on Thursday, and they did win 2-0. If I'm picking a winner, like I said, I'd have to go Stuttgart. If not that, both teams to score over 2.5, or simply Stuttgart to score over 1.5 themselves. And we'll round out this parlay and this weekend's soccer predictions with Lazio and Empoli. In Italy, Lazio are the 3rd highest scorers with the 4th highest XG, the 2nd most shots on target as well. They have 12 goals for, and their 3-1-2 record. That's pretty good, but they have allowed 10 goals as well. That's tied for the 6th most. So lots of both teams to score bets in Lazio games. Empoli actually have the same amount of points, 10 less wins than Lazio, 2 versus 3, but they are one of 2 teams, being the other being Juve, that have still yet to lose a game. With just 5 goals for and 2 goals allowed, Empoli games have been stone cold under, so the complete opposite of Lazio. The under has gone 5-1, with their games averaging a measly 1.2 goals per match. Lazio always scores though. They score often, and they usually win against Empoli when these teams meet up. They've won the past 3 meetings 2-0, have scored 2 or 3 goals versus Empoli in 6 straight, and they're undefeated at 9-2-0 in the past 11 when these teams meet up. The rest advantage is certainly in Empoli's favor, with Lazio having played in the Europa League on Thursday, but with a very rotated squad, and they will be full of confidence, having just put 4 past Nice with that rotated squad. They won 4-1 at home, and the goals just kept coming for the Eagles. One way or another, I would expect Lazio to at least get on the score sheet, so we'll go Lazio to score, paired with Stuttgart to score at least 2, and both teams to score with Frankfurt and Bayern to come in at plus 114 odds. So that will wrap up my soccer predictions and picks and parlays for this weekend's games. Be sure to let me know what you're betting down there in the comments. You can see the picks from this video in a graphic at the end of this video, so check that out as well. If you want some great bonus money, some great offers, if you're a new customer looking for a new sports book, then be sure to go down to the comments and see the link that I'm going to post down there, signupexpert.com/shredthespread. You can grab some great bonus money as well. Check it out, and good luck.